Hello everybody, it's Dependent Quarter 577 here, and today I want to show and demonstrate how I made my last two challenge walks, which are for the black belt requirements, one of which is to complete an epic quest, one of which again is challenge walk making, and I've been busy the last couple of weeks experimenting with different spins, different modifications, and this is going to be a challenge lock duo that I'll be sending out. There will be two locks, pin tumbler Yale, which is a 5-pinner, and dimple Yale, which is a 6-pinner. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 6-pinner. Basically, I don't have a dremel. All I use is a power drill to spin the pins. I use hacksaw blade to shape them, files as well, and sandpaper. And basically, that's all the instruments that I use. And also I use screws to not to taper, but to thread the chambers, which I'm going to be showing you in a minute. So basically I have taken one screw and screw it like this to make some scratches on the first chambers from the back and from the front on the both of the locks. And let's start with the dimple one, which is here. First of all, I looked to find the hardest bitting I could find in the market. So I have basically almost no lift, almost max lift, almost no lift, middle, max, and low lift. And how this affects the binding order after the modifications is that basically pin 1 and 3 you don't have to touch them at all, because the pins, driver pins there, are tapered. So basically just by applying turning pressure with the tensioner, they're already set at shear line. So I made overset traps on both of the key pins, because most pickers, my guess is, will try to push on them, and hopefully this will set them back. I have a screw, part of a screw for driver on the second one. Key pin is not modified. I have a nail, which people call drunken spool, on position 4. Key pin is stock as well. I have a homemade like gin type driver, and factory, no modifications. They come with a little taper on it. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I haven't done the taper. It's just how it is stock. And on position 6 I have done one really sharp spool with, again, overset trap keeping. I have experimented with the springs. This one is a double spring, this one is a super spring actually. It's really hard to compress. I'm not going to demonstrate because it's going to fly. This is a copper spring, two super springs as well, and once again double spring on position 6. Now the chambers, I have modded chamber 2, 3 and 4. 2, 4 and 5, excuse me. I have done threading on all of them, and number 4 has undercuts as well, so I can catch the nail, and it gives a very deep faucet. Let me show you how deep it goes. It's a little hard to do it through the camera. It's like this. So this will be the dimple challenge lock, which you basically have to set 4 pins for it to open, and that's part of the trap, because most pickers will want to set all of the 6 pins, and just basically won't work. Okay, so going to the pin number 1, I had this key, but I wanted to make it even more challenging, so I actually filed down the position 2 by 1 space. So basically that's almost no lift. I'm going to show you in a minute. And let's go through the modifications again. I have almost max lifts on the back and no lifts on the second position. This one I actually made all of the key pins over set traps just because this box is EO 500. It's a frustrating walk, it's hard to pick without any modifications, and my idea is if the picker gets frustrated or anything, he might want to push on these key pins too hard, which you can see they have very thin lips and they're very easy to overset. So for drivers I have a nail or drunken spool on position 1 with another part of nail to keep the spring from going to the shear line, and I don't have this problem here because I smashed it a little here and the spring doesn't go all the way to the shear line, so it's no need for master wave or anything here. On number 2 I have actually a serrated pin which I didn't make, it's from Sparrow's repinning kit. On number 3 I have once again a screw to screw with people. On positions 4 and 5 I have homemade double spools, which it's a pin that I really enjoy making, and I made the nastier one to be at the back of the lock, which makes it even harder to pick. I've actually managed to open the dimple challenge lock with some trouble of course, but the pin number 1 I just can't get it open, which I think is pretty fine. For the springs we have different springs here as well. We have stock spring on 1 and 4. We have thinner, smaller springs on 3 and 5, and we have a double spring on number 2. Okay, on to the core modifications. I have threaded chambers 1, 2 is stock, 3 is threaded, 4 is threaded, 5 is threaded. And we have undercuts on chamber 1, which houses the drunken spool. And pretty much that's it. I want to show you the pin effectiveness. Also keep in mind that all of the testing is done by a lot of experimenting, trying out different pin combinations and so on. So this project actually took me quite a while, but I'm really happy with how the thing turned out. You can see how the lock is in rested position, and here it just barely catches on the second serration, so we have 2 serrations on number 2 which will go through the shear line. Okay, put it back. That pin number 1 is so dirty. You can see the keyway is paracentric, but actually there is, oops, happens sometimes. When I get distracted, I start doing stupid things. Okay, let's dump it all out. And you can actually see here through the wording there are holes, so you can actually defeat the paracentric keyway by picking just through the bottom with a very deep hook. But don't tell anyone who is trying to pick my lock. It's just a little surprise, which if you have some knowledge, maybe you know it, but you can find it just by experimenting as well. So this was the pin tambour, and let me show you the dimple one. I'm going to do a presentation as well. They are going to be in a box, which is going to be locked up by another lock, which is going to be not a challenge lock, just a normal padlock. Okay, so tapered on 1 and 2, I'm not going to, on 1 and 3 I'm not going to put them because they're going to fall out immediately. going to put the rest of the pins only, because they're barely below the shear line, but just because they are tapered, you just set them by turning the tension wrench, as I explained earlier, and this is how effective the pins are. Hopefully you can see it. The last one just catches on the sharp lip, just barely, but the other ones are pretty damn effective. Okay, so let me just assemble the lock so you can see all works fine. Just going to quickly do it. Okay, this is number 6. I haven't started engraving the locks yet, but on the second part of this video you're going to see probably the finished product. Okay, I'm going to start with pin 4. Pin 5 actually. Okay. Now the nail or drunken spool. Now tapered. Now the screw. And tapered again. Okay. Put the core in. Slide the shim out. Get the key out so I don't spill the guts. And I'm going to put the C-clip on in a minute. Now let's make the other lock. Let's assemble it. So you can see the keys work just fine. You know, the key has to work to be a challenge lock. You can't have a keyless challenge lock. And I hope the people that are going to pick this challenge lock duo are going to have a lot of fun, because actually that's what this whole thing is all about. It's about having fun, experimenting, learning new things, learning how different modifications interact with one another. Okay, just number 5 left. Shim again. Okay, just let me get my I'm not sure what this is called in English. I just call them locksmith pliers. They probably have a name, which I just don't know. Okay, secured and secured. Okay, so here is the key working. Just goes in and rotates perfectly. You can even see the keeping modification on the back and the driver, and the dimple one. You can see all works. It's a little bit hard to insert the key, but you can insert it and turn it. So okay, now the second part of the video, I'm going to show the presentation, which I chose this really cool metal box, which has some interesting details on it, and I made the insides full so I can include one of my notes, which I'm not going to show here. Over it goes this part. And now I also want to show you that I modified the box a little bit from the last time. It's just customization. Here it says Leo Bro, second DQ577, and also we have engraving on the key. As you can see, the keys work just fine, and this one goes here. The key will be mummified, but for the sake of presentations I'm leaving it like this. And the other one, Big Sis, here says 1, because in my experience this one is easier to pick than this one, that's why I labeled them 1 and 2. And as you can see, yet again I have modifications of the key. Also, for this one the key sometimes gets stuck, but you can just wiggle it around and it goes in, no problem. So this will be the final presentation, and I'm including a little note here to let know the picker what's the name of the lock, who am I and the creator, and also that the locks are meant to be sent with the chest and with the padlock put on. This way, when you receive it, the challenger who wants to pick the locks needs to pick this lock first to warm up, and after that you can just go on and pick the challenge locks. And this will be it. Hope you enjoyed. Have a nice day and bye bye.